Hey, Mr. Brown's class. My name is Cait Mellor. Just to let you know what I do up front, I am a copywriter in the pet industry, and I will get into what exactly that means and what I do in my day to day. But Mr. Brown reached out to me to answer these questions for this really cool career connection project for you, and I'm happy to do so. And I hope that you guys find some value in my answers. Um, so yeah, I'm just going to kind of run through the questions and hopefully I'm not too long-winded. But Mr. Brown, feel free to cut me off if I get too lengthy with my responses. So, um, number one, personal path. How did you get started in your career? What was your first job or role related to business and marketing? And what did you study, if anything, to prepare for the field? Um, so let me actually start off by saying, as far as studying, and what I studied in high school, I feel like a lot of marketing career options weren't really talked about. So I do really think that this project in particular is going to be really, really useful in understanding like where you can take your career because there are so many possibilities. And I didn't even know that the current job that I do now exists until I started doing it. So just want to throw that out there. But in college, I did study communication studies and I minored in creative writing. I chose that because I always really loved to write. English was always my favorite subject in school. Um, and I figured that given that those were my strengths, I would probably end up in the marketing world in some capacity at some point. And I was right. So that's why I chose my major. Fresh out of school, I took a job in sales for an environmental software company. So I actually traveled up and down the East Coast selling environmental engineering software, which is like wild for me to say. I didn't know anything about environmental engineering, and I still don't, even after having done that job for, um, I guess, like 18 months or so, I was in that role. Um, but being fresh out of college and getting in front of a bunch of environmental engineers who I was like confident were probably smarter than I was and selling them something, giving them this whole presentation, and just, I don't know, putting myself out there in that way really taught me a lot. It taught me that I didn't have to have all the answers, that a lot of times people were just looking for a relatable person behind what they were about to buy. So I never really pretended to be anything that I wasn't. They knew I didn't have an environmental engineering background, but I was able to be pretty successful in that role, just really listening to what their needs were and being able to find answers to the problems that they were trying to solve. So I would say that that experience really, while it felt crazy at the time, was setting me up for a career in marketing. After that, I was the fundraising and events manager for Krispy Kreme Donuts. So I was doing a lot of marketing tasks within that role. Um, I was actually writing a lot of copy, a lot of like marketing materials. So again, I was like doing copywriting without even understanding that that could just be my job. And then I was also just basically selling the program to local schools and organizations who were looking for different fundraising programs. After that, I kind of went in a completely different direction. I was really involved in the animal rescue world in the Philly area. So I was like volunteering at the local shelter. I was there like 4 to 5 days a week anyway. I needed a job. I got laid off from the Krispy Kreme position. They eliminated the position entirely to save money. And yeah, so I was like, what else can I do with myself? I ended up taking a part-time job with a local radio station, and I was like a marketing assistant for them. And again, I was doing a lot of copywriting. I was coming up with like landing page copy, so different promotions that they were running on air needed like a website to for the person to go land on and purchase whatever it was they were trying to sell. And I was putting those pages together for them, like 15 to 20 hours a week. And then I decided to go work for a friend of mine in the rescue world, and she ran a boarding and daycare facility for dogs, and she also had a retail store. She was dabbling in starting a rescue as well. So she was starting like foster dogs from the shelter. at her facility. So I eventually became her kind of general manager of both the business and the rescue. We applied for a 501(c)(3) and became a legit animal rescue. We expanded the retail store and actually built an adoption center within the retail store. And I was managing all of that. So there was a lot of marketing involved. Obviously, I was growing our social media. They had no social media when I started. And when I left almost 7-ish years later, we had, I want to say like 13,000 followers on Facebook. That was like our primary platform that we were using at the time. So I had grown the page to that extent. I was writing copy for websites, events, all the bios for the animals coming into our adoption center, all that. So I did that for a little over 7 years, and then I needed to kind of make a shift in my career. So I started a little side hustle, and I would honestly say at first I was just kind of like a virtual assistant. I was like taking anything and everything that I could do from home to help businesses and requesting money for it. So that's how it started. And then I was pregnant with my second kid, and my husband eventually said to me, okay, so you've like proven your concept. Like, are you gonna leave your job and pursue this full time, or what are you really doing? Because daycare costs a lot of money, and I was commuting an hour plus at the time, and we were about to have two kids. So I was like, yeah, let's take the leap. Let's do it. At the time, I started to kind of niche into copywriting. So if you don't know what copywriting is, which a lot of people, at least my age or older, don't, it basically means I am the writer behind any marketing assets that a business might need to promote themselves. And that really can span across a lot of different platforms. So that might look like a business's website, their email marketing, the actual words in their emails. Um, oh, sorry. My dog says hi. His name is Sunny. Um, email marketing, product descriptions, social media copy, pretty much any words that you need in order to communicate with your audience. That is what I write. So I started this business in 2020. Actually, in February 2020 is when I left my job, and then the world shut down and I panicked. Um, but it all turned out okay. So I ended up niching down into the pet industry because obviously I had a lot of experience in the industry, and a lot of those types of clients were coming to me naturally because I had such experience in the industry. So I had experience with both running a retail boarding daycare business, as well as dealing with our veterinary partners within the rescue. And I was also face to face with the customer. So I was having conversations with the exact audience that these people were trying to reach. So that was really appealing for them. Um, Okay, I'm already getting long-winded, so I'm just going to move on to the next question. But that is what I do now, and that's how I got here. What does a typical day look like for you? What kinds of projects or responsibilities do you handle? And who do you usually collaborate with? Okay, so a typical day for me, I am the primary parent at home, which is a big reason why I started this business. But after I get my kids off to school, around 9 o'clock, I start my day. And I would say my workload looks different week to week. I'm never really writing the same thing. I guess that's not fair to say. Sometimes I am writing projects that repeat on a monthly basis, but I also get a lot of new projects that pop up. So my weeks do vary. The types of projects or responsibilities that land on my plate. I have certain clients that I write the same things for monthly. So, for example, I have one client who I write a an email for every week that goes out to her list of subscribers. I also write two blog posts for her to publish on her website every month. And then she also gives me special projects as needed. So that might look like she's launching something new within her business and she needs copy around whatever that program looks like. Or for example, she's actually selling a planner right now. Her audience is pet business, or I'm sorry. Yes, pet business owner. So she's not really talking to pet parents. She's talking to people who run pet businesses and she coaches them and how to run their pet business successfully. So she's selling a planner right now, and I just wrote the whole sales page for that planner. And I'm working on an email marketing plan to help her sell the planners. So that's just one example. Um, Another example would be another client of mine. I'm rewriting all of their product descriptions literally today. So not all of them, but they sell dog food and treats. And right now I'm working on rewriting all of their kibble descriptions. So that's like 60 different product descriptions that need to be revamped. So yeah, pretty much from bell to bell, I'm sitting here writing whatever projects, show up on my plate, until I go pick my kids up from school. And that's a typical day for me. Um, who do you usually collaborate with? That's a good question too, because it varies client to client. So some of these businesses that come to me have larger teams that I have to kind of be integrated into, and some of them are very, very small teams. Some of them are just the business owner behind it all, and they are finally bringing on some marketing support, and that might be me. So it really depends, but with usually like medium to larger size businesses that do have teams, I'm integrated into working with graphic designers, creative directors, social media managers, different roles like that. And then there's also, just the businesses that are maybe solopreneurs that are like, I need someone to help me get this marketing out into the world. So I'm working directly one-on-one with the founder of the company. Skills and tools. What skills are most important in your job? Are there specific tools or software you use regularly? Um, Definitely creativity, communication, and following up with clients, letting them know where projects stand, letting them know what I need from them in order to complete a project. Um, Data analysis, like all the examples that are given here, these are good examples. Yes, I do err obviously on the side of creative, but I also have to take other things into consideration when I'm writing. Copy for any business. So who is their ideal audience? Who am I trying to reach? And what kind of language is going to resonate most with them? What is the brand voice of this company? So I can't just come in and start writing whatever I want to write in whatever tone I want to write it in. I need to be able to connect with their audience in a consistent way. So how do they speak to their audience? Is it resonating? Is it converting for them? Are they getting sales from the way that they communicate with their audience, or do we need to kind of tweak things to see what could work better for them? So, data analysis and just understanding um, the psychology of like sales and how to connect with people, and knowing that your audience is very specific. You're not selling to everyone and anyone. No businesses. You're going to have ideal customers, an ideal client avatar, and you need to really get into the mindset of how they would want to be spoken to or communicated with.